Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show, also with Locked On Podcast Network, here with my guy, Will Hernandez, Cardinals Guard. Will, you started off your career with the New York Giants. You come over to the Cardinals, and it seems like you've really taken a step in the right direction, with that being all the play that you've had with the Cardinals, being in the guard, being a part of one of the Cardinals' offensive lines that has been one of the better ones over the past couple of seasons. You know, for myself watching this team, there's never been a Cardinals offensive line as good as it's been this year. What do you think has allowed not just the Cardinals offensive line to take that next step this season like they did, even if you weren't a part of the whole thing, you were in the rooms? What's the difference from going to the Giants to now here, and just kind of the difference culturally that allows that hard-nosed football culture to happen?
No, I mean, it's everything. It's night and day, right? And I think it starts at the top. I think when guys get the right guys in there, front office and all that, they get the right guys in there that are all in sync right here, the physical part takes care of itself. The coming out and going to workouts and all that, putting up big numbers, that all takes care of itself. But if you can bring in the guys that are all in sync right here, that's where you really start seeing these things happen, where these offensive lines start performing as one instead of 5 different individuals. And that's exactly what we had this year. We had a bunch of guys who all wanted the exact same thing and were willing to put the work in, just like the guy next to him. And when you have that sync, then that's when you start, showcasing how good of an offensive line is, and then you start pointing out and dissecting each player as being good as well.
Well, you talk about a team that with continuity and these players that clearly want to play for that team and as one unit, you see an offensive line coach go out the door, and Adams gets a promotion over with the Dallas Cowboys. Great for him. But then you talk about this Cardinals offensive line that finally has some continuity and is finally playing well. You potentially see a guy like Fry come in. What are some adjustments when it comes to a new offensive line coach? What that means? Is it this just same thing, different day, or is there a real adjustment period to that?
I mean, there's definitely going to be an adjustment period because now you got a whole new coach with his own mindset, with his own techniques, with everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of having those guys that are already proven to be team players mesh with that coach. And from the things I've heard of him, just from Paris Johnson stuff, he's going to be a great coach, and it should be an easy transition. So I'm not really worried about it. And also I think it's going to be a faster transition than people think. Because, again, it all has to do with that offensive line. The coach is the head, but the offensive line, if they're all in sync, the offensive line coach is definitely going to adapt them to what he wants to do as well.
Let's talk about not just the continuity on the offensive line, and I promise not to keep you for too much longer. So gracious with your time. Let's talk about one being Kyler Murray. I have seen as a Kyler Murray defender for years, it feels like he takes a little too much blame for a guy that maybe he's not Mahomes, Allen. There's one or two of those in the world. I guess I should say, the progression that you've seen from Kyler Murray, does it just give you that confidence that he is going to continue to progress to be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL? Is he the guy to lead you to the playoffs, but can you just speak to him on the leadership, his ability as a quarterback, in the room, what you see every day, debunking these rumors or stuff that he's just sitting at home playing video games? What has been your experience with him?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, definitely don't believe everything you see on the internet about him. One, I know the guy personally. I played with him for a few years now. This is the guy. This is the guy that you want running your team. There's a lot of stuff that the media does for different reasons sometimes, and sometimes it sucks. Guys get a bad name or bad rep, but I'm telling you from experience, and I'm telling you from knowing the guy personally, this is the guy that's going to get it done. Do we need to tweak other stuff, other places, and does he have things to work on as well, just like everyone else? Yes, but this is the guy who is going to actually make this thing happen. Now we got to put all the other little pieces on the right track and getting better as well, and it will happen.
Your progression from where you first showed up with Kyler to now, where have you seen the growth the most? Is it on the field or is it off the field? His preparation, there was the infamous homework clause that everyone blew out of proportion, and then they completely got rid of that. Where's the biggest progression you've seen him make?
I mean, naturally, as a quarterback, you're always going to have that kind of attention, right?
Yeah.
But I promise you, he ain't the only one that does things that people blame him for. It's like 80, 90% of the league.
Yeah.
So that's that. But on top of that, everybody that knows exactly what he can do has all the faith in the world. He got the bad rep because of all those things that, were brought up to the media and all that. But at the end of the day, Kyler's Kyler. I've seen the most growth from him on and off the field. On and off the field, because on the field we all see it. We all saw it. But off the field, it's all those things. It's all those off the field things that people didn't see, but they only saw the result. And by what I mean by off the field is he was reaching the guys out so much more. You've seen just on his YouTube, he's hanging out with all these receivers, all these new guys coming in more, creating that bond that everybody talks about, but he's actually putting into action by taking trips with these guys. He brought a few offensive linemen on these things too. Me and Paris were able to go on one trip. Like he made sure that the team came together before we came together on the field, if that makes sense. And a lot of people talk about it, a lot of quarterbacks talk about it, but in reality, if you really want to start, looking at things on the internet and placing a blame on him, then I blame him for getting us together so much and having us have that continuity, not just in the offensive line room, but in other positions as well. He was also to blame for that as well, because he's the one that got us all together in the offseason.
Final question, football-wise, and then, of course, you're here with, I believe it is called Mijo Things as well. As a Spaniard myself, I like to go by the half white, half Hispanic sign, but I always just tell people, I have a white mom, so that's why I kind of talk the way I do. But either way, man, we'll get to that in just a second, because I want to be able to throw that out there as well. Jonathan Gannon, there's a stigma out there now in the NFL that is... It's all offensive driven. You got to go offense for everything. Jonathan Gannon's a defensive guy. And even I at times, I'm like, can you have a coach that doesn't do offense as their specialty, win a Super Bowl? And of course, only going to say nice things about the guy. I love JG, his culture, and everything he's brought to this team, and I'm sure you do as well. But does JG continuously give you the faith of leadership in the locker room, having a culture of accountability? Can you just speak to JG as the coach and potentially being the coach to finally bring a Super Bowl to Arizona?
100%. I have all the faith in him, just like I do with Kyler. And that's why I'm so confident in Kyler, because I know JG's leading him. Yeah. I know JG has something to do with that. And then that's why I have a lot of faith in Kyler or in JG, because I know Kyler has his back as well. Yeah. They have each other's back, and that's some of the most important parts in this team. And if you believe in both of those parts, then the rest will trickle down. And that's why these guys, I'm telling you, man, they have special things coming. It wasn't exactly the way everybody wanted this year, you're right, but it's only going to go up like this.
Will Hernandez has been so good with this time here with Mijo Things. Do you want to just take a couple of seconds to talk about why you were here promoting? You're not just here just wanting to talk with some kid from Phoenix who wants to get to know a little bit more about the Cardinals. You're here with the Locked On Podcast Network. Go ahead, shout out exactly what you're doing here with Mijo Things.
Yeah, man. So Mijo Things is a clothing brand that me and my friends started.
Yes, sir.
And it was kind of just to show and represent our roots. Mijo, it's a term of endearment. Yeah. Something that your mom calls you since you're a little kid. And it's also something you could you call your boys, hey, what's up, Mijo? Like, what's going on? Let's just go eat. So it's a term of endearment that's very relatable to a lot of Hispanic players. And my goal at the beginning was to bridge the gap between the NFL and Latinos in sports, and show them and create a platform that has a little bit of swag to it, has a little bit of a cool factor, but something that these kids can feel a part of, and show them that bridge to the NFL isn't as unrealistic to them as they think it might be. Show them that, hey, I came from exactly the same situation, probably worse, and I was able to make it to the NFL, and not just make it to the NFL, but play for a long time. I'm still playing. So it's a movement, it's a vibe, it's a mentality. If you're a Mijo and you want big things out of this world, want big things out of your life, you want to do big things, whether it's the NFL, whatever it is, profession you want to get into, you just want to go to college and get an education and be a valedictorian, then you have that Mijo mentality. You should be in a Mijo Things hat, rocking Mijo Things. And that's exactly what it is. It's just a platform where people and kids and athletes can feel a part of it and show them that we can do whatever it is we want to do. And we're going to throw a Mijo hat on and do it.
I love it. Now, I was curious for a long time why my grandmother was calling me Mijo at Thanksgiving. See, even the white side's coming out of me as I'm saying it now, but last name's Garcia. I still got all the scholarships that I needed to get at ASU. So exactly. So now I know that my grandmother actually did love me, and she wasn't upset with me. Maybe it was just the tone of voice she used. Either way,
it's not what she said; it's how she said.
Yes, and at times, maybe she was trying to be nicer than she was leading on to be. But either way, I appreciate it, Will. Thank you so much for your time. Yes, sir.